Welcome to my subscribers. I finally hit 30,000 subscribers and I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for checking out this channel. Today I'm just going to talk about my journey. It was a suggestion that I had received in the community tab. If you've never been in the community tab, if you're on my front homepage on YouTube, just look at the top. It's a place where I share a bunch of events coming up, links to classes and announcements, questions, polls, whatever. You can check it out. So somebody said, why not talk about your journey? I'll do just that. I think you actually, for those of you that are struggling or having challenges, you might actually get some inspiration out of this because my journey was fairly interesting, I suppose. It definitely was not just a straight ahead easy track like you might think. So I never really had exposure to playing music other than in middle school. I took some private guitar lessons and I had a guitar class in middle school. And I actually really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to try to learn the guitar, and I was always excited. Every night I'd come home and show my parents. They probably love this. I'd sit on their bed at night and say, here's what I learned today, and I'd play all this, whatever I could. But that kind of faded away after the class ended, and I didn't want to take private lessons anymore. I didn't like my teacher at all, and I didn't like what I was learning. And that was my musical experience until I found the harmonica, and that was really my journey began after college. But in college in Austin, Texas, where I was living at the time in the late 90s, I was listening to guys like Gary Primich, Walter T. Higgs, and the first guy I ever saw play harmonica at all live, it was amplified harmonica, Guy Forsythe. And Guy Forsythe's a phenomenal musician still out there playing. And he was a huge inspiration because it was that aha moment or whatever you want to call it. He lit the fire for me. Everything. I remember I was in a bar called Maggie Mae's in Austin, Texas, and no one was listening to the band, and they were so good. It was like everyone was just drinking, sort of like doing their own thing. And I remember listening to Guy take a solo, and it just, my whole world stopped. He did it for me. He was the one that sort of just was like, the right time, right place. This is what's possible with this thing. I had no idea the harmonica could sound like that. So that really put me on a path to, wanting to figure this thing out. So from the beginning, I was really obsessed. I played nonstop all the time. And lucky for me, I lived with a guy named Sergio. And Sergio was a guitar player, really cool fella. He was about my age. We were in our 20s at the time. And mid-20s, early mid-20s. And he just wanted to play shuffles every night and sit around and drink beer and cook good food. And I was so lucky to fall into that circumstance. Every night it was like getting a lesson. I sat down and we just played and played and played and played. And I kept getting a little bit better and a little bit better. So I started playing out as much as I could early on. I would attend blues jams. I would sit in with anybody that would let me sit in. But it was really scary for me. I want to point something out. I did take some lessons early on, so I want to talk about that. I connected with J.P. Allen as my first teacher. He lived in Austin, Texas at the time. For those of you that don't know J.P. Allen, he is the owner of harmonica.com, and took some private lessons at his house, and he just he imparted some really important wisdom and hit me to something really important. I'm so glad that it's crazy to look back. My journey, I'm so lucky that I met the people I met at the time that I met them. So with JP, it was all about breath control, diaphragmatic breathing. He'd have me lay on my back during lessons and really visualize the air coming up the sides, the front, and he got me thinking about how I'm breathing from step one. And so those were the biggest takeaways from him. Of course, he taught me other things, and then eventually he said, "Hey, I've kind of shown you what I can show you. I'd like to recommend that you go take some lessons with Michael Rubin." So my first experience with Michael Rubin was joining a informal class at the University of Texas one summer. So this was like one of those classes that's like once a week for 6 weeks. It was a group of about 15 to 20 some odd people in this class. And just to give you some insight as to what it was like for me, it was the scariest thing I think I'd ever done was attend that class, because one of the first things on the very first day that Michael did was say, everybody go around and just play a little bit so I can hear you. And I was the only guy that was like, I can't do it. I have nothing to play. I was, quite frankly, it was just that I was too nervous. I was petrified to play in front of other people. I was that guy. So now here I am posting videos, playing all the time and sharing it with a lot of people. And so Michael was instrumental in imparting a foundation of good technique, bending, vibratos, a little bit of tongue blocking, tongue technique. Although I didn't get too deep into it until after I left and finished up with that class. But so I gained some great foundation early on from these two guys, and I'm so thankful for that. And I pretty much along the way self-taught the rest, how to put it together. The one thing I did from early on was I played a lot. I sat in, like I said, with many bands, blues jams. I was constantly playing. And I eventually left Austin and I made my way to Colorado in around 1996 or 7, I want to say. And I started playing with other bands. Before I left Austin, I connected with Hugh Fidel. He's a great musician, singer-songwriter, kind of hill country style, bluesy, southern rock mix of stuff. And that was a great experience for one of my earliest bands that I played with. But when I got to Austin, I quickly joined a band called Available Jones, and I toured for 3 months, longer than 3 months, on the road, huge tour. It was a psychedelic funk rock band. The whole time, what I had really wanted to find was a blues band. I was into blues. But the opportunity that was presented to me from the flyer on the music store at Rob's Music in Boulder, Colorado, was for this funk band, kind of rock, funk, everything. And so I said, well, what do I have to lose? Let's see if they want to. They were looking for an instrumentalist. They put keyboard, saxophone. I'm like, I play harmonica. Could that work? Anyway, it worked out well. And we played together for a few, 2-3 years or so. That ended. And fast forward to like 2006. Along that time, I had been playing music and holding down part-time jobs, playing gigs. And I started teaching more and more in person and also eventually on Skype. And by 2006, I posted my first video on YouTube. And at that time, no one was posting any videos with instructional information or anything. I didn't know that until Adam Gusso told me this at an event that we taught at. He said, you were first. I know because I searched YouTube before posting any videos. In 2007, he began posting like a madman and pretty much took over YouTube in the world of harmonica instruction. And we became good friends. Adam's a good friend of mine. We taught many seminars and workshops on the road for years. So it's just been awesome. So 2006 was a turning point of posting and becoming, a part of this online community in YouTube and putting myself out there. Started harmonica123.com around 2007 because somewhere in that neighborhood, 2007-ish, because I saw the need that a lot of people were writing to me every day. Hey, can you show me this? Do you have any instruction on this? So I thought, man, I better build something. And it was a really basic site. It was horrible. It was awful. Let's just be honest. And I was selling really primarily not digital content, but CDs of audio CDs and some video DVDs that I had produced at some place. It was so expensive to do this. And it wasn't until 2009 that I got married to my current wife that I'd been married to for 10 years. And she eventually, very quickly in the marriage, said, you're miserable coming home from this part-time job that I had at a computer store. She said, you're miserable doing this. You need to quit this job. And you need to focus on your business, your music, and what you want to do, your passion. And that's what I did. And ever since then, The business has grown and my opportunities have become abundant. And currently, I'm so fortunate to work with Honer, who is such an amazing company, and the people that work there have treated me so well. I can't stress that enough. So I do a lot of contract work, doing clinics, presentations, and training sessions with Honer. And I travel all over the place doing workshops. I teach online, offer online classes. This is definitely a full-time thing for me, and it has been now for, 10 years. So that's my journey. Here's the secret. Do it because you love it. It's all about the journey. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't set crazy ambitious goals and then beat yourself up when you don't hit them. And when something's not coming to you, like a technique or things are a disconnect, let it go. Turn it to a different direction and get obsessed and get excited about something else that you can work on that's still a challenge for you, and come back. And you can come back to that thing, and eventually it will click. It just will take time. Think about fundamentals, really give yourself a good fighting chance by focusing on important things first, like breath control and clear single notes and good timing. Those elements can culminate into producing, making you a great player, I should say. So that's my journey. There was something else I wanted to say. Shoot. Sometimes when you play a little harmonica, things come to you. So let me play a little bit for a second while I'm stalling and trying to think of what else. There was one other thing I wanted to mention. Oh, I know what it is. I want to tell you guys something. I haven't put this out to, I've only said this to a few people. Literally, even not all of my friends know this yet. So I'm now telling the world that I'm leaving Colorado. I'm moving March 1st to make a move to the great state of Illinois, where I will be closer to some of the best musicians in the world that I've been working with for years now. So it will make my travel, my commute a little bit easier to live out in Illinois. I'm not moving to Chicago. I'm moving south of there. And do more work with the Kilbourne Alley Blues Band, who I've done some recording with and performing with. Great players, great band. And just puts me in a place where I can settle down, and it's going to be awesome. We're very excited about it. So that's what I got. That's what's happening in my world. That's my journey. Hope you enjoyed this video. Next video I come up with here, we'll definitely get back into some content. And thanks for checking out this video, and welcome to all of my subscribers.